And in the midst of this fiscal cliff frenzy, everyone is talking taxes, but is anyone really talking about spending cuts? Now, that is supposed to be half the deal to avoid the cliff. President Obama doesn't want to talk about spending cuts. Congressman Aaron Schock is on the House Ways and Means Committee. He joins us. Good evening, sir. And what about these spending cuts?
Well, look, the president made it very clear during his campaign this last year that he wanted a balanced approach. He talked repeatedly about raising taxes on the wealthy. He continues to talk about raising taxes on the wealthy, as you talked with Pat earlier in your program. Raising tax rates on the wealthy. And beyond raising taxes on the wealthy, rates on the wealthy, he said he wanted a balanced approach. He said during the campaign he wanted $2.50 in cuts for every $1 in revenue. And yet you saw the only proposal come from him since the election was $4 in revenue for $1 in cut. His proposal was $1.6 trillion in new revenue with $400 billion in cuts. And oh, by the way, he wants $300 billion in additional spending, stimulus spending in addition to that. But completely the opposite, in contradiction to his own campaign pledge. And so what we've been trying to do, Greta, really is hold his feet to the fire and say, look, Speaker Boehner was very clear the day after the election. He said, Mr. President, you won, but so did we. The mandate that we have is to work together. Neither side is going to get everything that we want, and so we're willing to meet you halfway. We're willing to honor your pledge of $80 billion a year from the wealthiest, $800 billion over 10 years, which is what you said during the campaign. We'll give you the $800 billion, but we need those $2.50 for every dollar in revenue in cuts. And the president has been completely unwilling to specify those cuts.
Here's your problem. Other than the snapshot of the president in swim trunks in Hawaii while we go off the fiscal cliff, which is a bad photo op, or if he delays his trip for 2 days, but he sends his family off so they were paying for 2 flights to Hawaii. Other than that, I mean, what do you have going for you in terms of this debate? Because it doesn't look like the Republicans have a lot going for them right now going into this debate.
Well, first of all, we need to stop talking about tax rates, because at the end of the day, this isn't about taxes, it's about the economy. The reason why Republicans are so opposed to raising rates on small businesses is because we want the economy to grow. We want people to go back to work. We want the middle class and the working poor to have more opportunity this next year than they've had the last 4 years under President Obama. And here's what we know, not from Democrats or Republicans, but from the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan group that says this: if we go over that cliff, what Secretary Geithner said Obama's willing to do, if we go over that cliff, we will expect to lose 1.8 million jobs. If we do what the president wants, which is to raise taxes on those small businesses, we'll lose 700,000 jobs. Or if we do what Republicans would like to do, which is keep tax rates where they are, we'll lose 0 jobs. So our choice, as you're pointing out, Greta, is go over the cliff and lose 1.8 million jobs, do what the president wants and lose 700,000 jobs, or do what Republicans want to do, which is lose 0 jobs. And obviously, our goal is try and get as close as to losing no jobs. But obviously,
but the problem is that you're not getting to the 0 jobs problem, is because it's like you don't have the numbers. That's your problem. You don't have the numbers. You don't have the momentum. So how are you going to turn that around?
Well, you're right. And to Pat's point earlier in your program, look, I wish we controlled the House, the Senate and the White House. I wish Republicans had complete control, because I think our policies are most conducive to economic growth. But right now, what Speaker Boehner and Leader Cantor are trying to do is negotiate in good faith with the president, earnestly putting forward thoughtful proposals on not only revenue but on cuts, and trying to get the president to move to the center. If we go over the cliff come January 1, it will not be because of a lack of good faith effort on the part of the House Republicans. We have been negotiating good faith. The president's been running around like a candidate still at these campaign rallies and offering no specifics. The media has not held him to account on his pledge for a balanced approach.
And I think, Congressman, I think that the best PR message you have at this point, that I think, you know, to make your point, not that I'm making the point for you, is that the president has moved the goalposts in terms of what he ran on and what the American people thought they were voting, because it's a far cry from $800 billion to $1.6 trillion. But anyway, you know, we'll be
not only doubled the revenue, Greta, not only doubled the revenue, but changed from $1 in revenue for $2.50 in cuts to now he says, I want $4 in revenue for every $1 in cut. That's like going to a completely different field.
And let me add that both parties have known for a year and a half of this problem. So it's like I'm a little bit. I want to take both of you. I want to take both of you to woodshed on it, both parties on it, because you guys have brought this all on yourself and now upon the American people. But
look,
I'm taking the last word on that one.
It's extremely frustrating to be a part of it. Trust me.
I understand, Congressman. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good to be with you.
And straight ahead.